My name is Sarah, and I just got back from Costa Rica on a mission trip with Nativity. This is my second time going to Costa Rica, and our big project for this year was that we tore down a house and we put the frame on it back up. So the ministry that we worked for, the Jennifer, who is kind of in charge of this whole trip, she has been going on this trip for like 20 years, and all of her kids have been going on this trip with her. And on the very last day when we were at that ceremony, Karina, who is Sonia, who's in charge, Karina is Sonia's daughter-in-law, so she's been around the ranch for a very long time also. And Karina was telling us how she watched like all of Jennifer's kids grow up from like little kids to obviously like grown teenagers. And it really like puts into perspective how cherished these relationships are. Just being able to come like year 2 and having people that I met last year remember me from last year and like being excited to see me after I like didn't even know if that they would like remember my face is a very like, it's a very fulfilling feeling, and it makes you feel really good about the work you're doing because you know that people remember it and that they cherish it. And I think that's what makes this ministry so amazing, is that it's just as equally about the work that you do as the relationships that you make, both from Costa Rica and from Fairhope and the other churches. And I think out of all the ministries that I've seen and served, this is definitely like my favorite for that reason. And I am going to continue to go for years to come. I met this woman. Her name was Rosa. She was 96 years old, and I met her when we were doing this little VBS for the elderly. And she was telling me that she has 13 children, all of which who are obviously older and like out of the house. I think the oldest one she said was like 73. But she was telling me that she lives all alone by herself in her house, and she never goes outside. And so she sits there all day by herself, and she's very lonely. And she was saying that whenever the ministry puts on these events where you can come and do these fun activities, like we did arts and crafts with them, that she loves getting to come because it makes her feel like young again, and that she can, it gives her interaction, which she doesn't get a lot. And before we left, she asked for a bottle of paint so that she could go home and paint herself. And one of the things that she was telling me, like right before we said goodbye and she left, was that she was telling me that her time is almost up. And I was like, well, don't say that. You've got so many years left. And she was like, no, my time is up and I'm ready, which, really struck a chord with me because it's satisfying to know that she in herself is ready for that to come. And she said she was ready to be reunited with her family and the Lord. So she really stuck with me in that sense. Something I didn't expect was how much downtime we had, which last year when we went, we had like a lot of breaks and stuff like that. But in terms of like our big project last year, there was a lot more work involved. We were constantly doing something. And when we were working, like you did not stop working until we took a break. This year, the project, while it was like a big project when you see it on paper or you say it out loud, it didn't actually take as many people as we thought it was going to take. The first 2 days of moving and tearing stuff down, everyone was involved and it was a lot of work. But after that, when we started getting to like the welding and the putting the frame up, that's really a job for like 2 people. And so there was a lot of downtime, which I did not expect and was a little bit hard to deal with because I'm a very go person. And so having to sit still for a while got really hard. But that's when relationships form. So it was good and it was bad. So last year when we went on the ranch, there were 2 boys that were living there, William and Angel. And this year, there were 4 boys that were living on the ranch. Angel, Estefan, Andy, and Josue. When we first got there, Angel, he like does a lot of work for the ranch, but he's the one that was there last year. He does a lot of like extra work for the ranch, so we didn't see him as much as we saw the other 3 boys. But I remembered him from last year. And on the last day that we were at the ranch, we did this little like ending ceremony dinner with everyone there. And I asked Angel, I was like, do you remember me from last year? Because me and him didn't have very much interaction last year, and we didn't have very much interaction this year. And he said he remembered me and that he was like glad that we came back. And that night, me and some of my friends from Fairhope, we got to play with the boys a lot. And it was really nice knowing that he remembered us and was glad to see us again. Because last year he was very shy when we came, and this year it was like a whole new person, and it was great. And I'm glad I got to see him. Just want to say a big thank you to all of your prayers and your support for us going, and I hope to see some of you come with me next year. And if you see me around this summer, ask me about it, and I'll tell you all about it, because it was great.